Welcome to the Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Fit, the all-in-one AI-powered corporate wellness platform developed by Vantage Circle.
Workplaces are getting more and more dehumanized in recent times. Respect, kindness, empathy are just mere words which you can't see at work anymore. People are putting a fake persona of themselves. Nobody is being real, and people are often scared to even open up with others. So let's talk more about this topic of bringing humanity to work in today's episode of Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Dipshi, and today I have with me co-founder of Uplevel Productions and executive and leadership coach, Christie Mann. Christie is a co-founder of Uplevel Productions, a boutique leadership development agency. She is a best-selling author, learning consultant, speaker, and meditation, who designs, delivers, and facilitates transformational content and experiences. Her business leadership experience over the past 2 decades in marketing, operations, sales, business development, strategic partnerships has allowed her to work with some of the world's leading brands and organizations. Welcome to the show, Christie.
Thank you so much for having me, Dipshi, and hello to your audience. I'm really excited to be here with you all today.
It's a pleasure having you here, Christie. So before moving on to today's topic, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure, I'll give just a high level because I know you'll have the bio in the notes, but I am a passionate practitioner of bringing humanity into the workplace. And I do that through many different forms. One of that is through my boutique leadership consulting firm that I co-founded with my business partner, Rachel Baldy. It's called Uplevel Productions. And we sell and deliver coach training inside some of the world's leading organizations today. We train people managers in coaching skills, as well as internal cadres of coaches for the organizations. And I'm also an author of a best-selling children's book series that helps adults and children have a better, more responsible relationship with their emotions. And that series is called The Adventures of Little Sass. And there's some other ways that I'm focused, but I think that's enough for now so we can get into the conversation, Dipshi.
It's very interesting, like whatever you just said.
Thank you. Well, it's been an interesting journey, I will say, to get to this point and to be doing this work. I feel very, very blessed and privileged to be able to support people to up-level their consciousness and to have a healthier relationship with their emotions and to bring more of their full self to their work, to their communities, to their families, to their worlds.
You have an interesting journey, Christie. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. So now, talking about the topic of today, that is bringing humanity into the workplace. So can you tell us, what does humanity in the workplace means? How can we demonstrate humanity in the workplace?
Yeah, what bringing humanity into the workplace means is that we recognize the whole person. Gone are the days that we have our work/professional self, and then we have our home/personal self. Bringing humanity into the workplace means that we acknowledge that we are feeling emotional beings, that we have a full life outside of the workplace with relationships and extracurricular activities and spiritual and religious communities, and that we expand our focus from just being human doings to really encompassing what it means to be a human being.
So being ourselves, even at work, is what we can call humanity. Like, is it something related to that? And not faking it and not pretending to be someone else?
Yeah, you got it. No more fake it till you make it. No more I have to compartmentalize parts of myself to be at work, because there's been a lot of data and research on the impact of people feeling safe to bring their whole self. And this includes their social identities, you know, their race, their culture, their social identity, and to be able to bring all of that to the workplace so it can be included as well as that there's safety for the whole person to show up. We know that this will drive business, it will drive results, and it creates higher levels of engagement and productivity.
And do you think organizations have a role to play in this? Like, can organizations foster a more empathetic and compassionate workplace culture? Will fostering this help bringing humanity in the workplace?
Most definitely. And a way that organizations can create a more empathetic and compassionate workplace culture is to train their people managers as well as individual contributors in coaching skills. And at a minimum, the foundation of helping people deepen their ability to listen. So typically we are listening to solve, and we're focused more on problems versus the human being. So training people to listen to the person and to notice, where are they listening from? And the other skill that we can train individual contributors and people managers in is curiosity. You know, if you think about children and how genuinely curious they are, and as adults, and specifically in the workplace, we start to lose that curiosity because we've been rewarded for having the answers. So part of bringing a more empathetic and compassionate workplace is creating a culture where people can ask curious questions, where they really don't know the answers. And it's okay not to know the answers. It's important not to know, so that you can help people discover their own solutions versus always providing them. And there's some other key foundational coaching skills, like acknowledging somebody. Different than feedback. Feedback is normally focused on the person's behavior and their performance, which is important in a workplace setting. But acknowledgement is about seeing who the person is being. What are the qualities they are displaying? So like, Dipshi, you are so dedicated to your mission with this podcast. And you are such a community builder. So you see the differences of acknowledgement is more about who you see the person being versus what they're doing.
Yes. And I believe leaders can help employees bring their real selves out, right, at work, by encouraging them and supporting them.
Most definitely.
So do you think diversity and inclusion also has something to do with it? Like, can organizations encourage and support diversity and inclusion at work and help and like promote humanity at work through that?
Yes. This is a key part of what we mean by bringing more humanity into the workplace. And what it will do is create more inclusion and support the equity and the diversity of the workplace. And the ways that an organization and people managers can do this is through creating psychological safety. And there's this concept that we train in our methodology it's called coactive coaching. And this is a concept called designed alliance. Essentially, this is setting up the relationship between a manager and the direct report, or between a people leader and their whole team, or even the executives of a company and the entire organization. And what we do in a designed alliance, typically, we're all doing this in workplaces. We're talking about the roles we hold, who's responsible for what, the timelines that we expect the work and projects to get done, and the business results. But we often step over talking about things like social identity and power dynamics in the workplace. And if we took the time to really, truly get to know a whole person and gain awareness of their cultural, religious, faith practices and beliefs, and their cultural holidays, and we start to honor them and include them, this can go a long way in bringing more humanity. An example of this, and this is, happens in the West a lot, in a work setting, people will often go for happy hour drinks after work if they are in person. Obviously, things have shifted a lot over the past 3 years. But happy hour is not the most inclusive way to bring people together, because in some religious faiths, drinking alcohol is not permitted. Or if somebody is a recovering alcoholic, it excludes them as well. So this is a way to bring more inclusion, is to be really aware of your team members and what are their social identities, their cultural beliefs, religious beliefs, and create environment where they feel safe to show up and be a part of things.
Also, team building, team bonding is a great way to do that. For example, a person might not be able to open up if he or she doesn't have teammates or colleagues who share the vibe with them, right? So, a sense of belonging and connectedness is very important at work for people to be their real selves. Don't you think?
I totally think that, 100%. And a way, again, that an organization or people managers can cultivate a sense of belonging and connectedness amongst their employees is to do work around values. And what I'm defining as values is it's things that are important to the individual. And of course, most organizations have a list of values. And sometimes they're just words on a piece of paper and nobody really knows what they mean or how to uplift them. So it's important that an organization does a process of defining the values, almost behavioralizing them so people know what it means to live the corporate values. But then you can also do that with individuals on your team, because if you start to uncover individuals' values and then help them maybe take on a project that would have them honor that value. Or perhaps you find out that one team member has a value of, say, inclusion, and so does another team member have a value of inclusion, but their definition looks different. So it's important that you take that extra step and ask people, well, how do you define that value? What does that look like for you in your day-to-day? And as a people manager, as an organization, you're going to help to honor that and put the person in situations where they can honor their values so that there is more belonging and connectedness amongst the team.
Social bonding, and probably even the managers can take their team out for team lunch, where they get ample time to interact with themselves, and getting to know each other is one factor that can help.
Yeah, I think there's exercises like what I just spoke about, doing things that are structured, like values work, and then there needs to be time for play. Because when we talk about humanity, a big part of that is that we want to have some fun. We want to relax and play at work. This will help us be more creative, more innovative. So maybe there is some outdoor activity that we can all do as a team, some kind of scavenger hunt or something in nature that allows people to connect to nature and to connect to each other, to come back and talk about their individual and shared experiences.
Can you elaborate some ways through which employers can promote bringing humanity and improve or increase the team bonding among the employees?
Yeah, I think a big way to bring more humanity into the workplace is that the folks that are at the top leading the organization, people managers, really need to be role models for what does it mean to be more human. So to start, it could be being honest when there's a mistake being made. And as the leader, sharing that, like, oops, I made a mistake, and here's what I've done to rectify the situation, and here's what I learned. So by modeling that, you start to create more psychological safety and more space for humanness. On the same vein of role modeling, as a people manager, if you're not modeling some sort of balance within your work, like if you're responding to emails at all times of day and night, if you're not taking time off, or you're taking time off but then you're working on your holiday, you're modeling that you're showing your team that they can't really take a break and take away from work and invest in the other parts of their life. So role modeling human behaviors is really important.
Ultimately, leaders are who we look up to, right?
Yeah, I mean, we hope so, right? We
Yes,
we
yes,
we
yes.
we hope so, and I think that's part of what's needed in the workplace is for organizations to invest in leadership development, and coach training is a beautiful leadership competency to develop in leaders so that people do look up to them, that they want to spend time with their leader, that they trust their leader, they feel safe, they feel included, they feel that they are getting the right projects from this person. They're feeling valued at work.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the more the employees feel supported by their leaders, can who are loyal. Like if the leaders are someone who is encouraging the employees, and the employees definitely will feel loyal towards the organization, right? So in such an environment, I believe there will be more empathy, more compassion, and kindness and respect for one another.
You got it.
Mhm.
You got it. And business results, right? At the end of the day, this isn't just some call to action so that people feel better. We want people to feel better and to be happy to be at work. But also, we want the business to be healthy. We want to hit and exceed financial targets. We want a productive workforce. And our world has shifted so much so, and that the generation in the workplace now is demanding more humanness. They are looking to the organization and their people leaders to see them as a whole person. So we need to make these shifts and changes and invest in our people to develop more of what's being called historically soft skills, so that there is more respect, kindness, empathy, and business results, sustainable business results for any organization.
Even the retention rates will be high as well, right? In such an environment.
Most definitely. This contributes to retention, engagement, productivity. I mean, it really is the medicine that is required right now for a healthy, thriving organization.
And do you think emotional intelligence can help in bringing more humanity to the workplace as well?
It's absolutely vital. Emotional intelligence and training folks in this and coaching skills and coaching mindset is a way to develop emotional intelligence. This is really mission critical at this stage of humanity, at this stage of organizational development.
Okay, so now let's talk about work-life balance. So is it somewhat related to, like, can it be a part of humanity at work?
I think so, definitely. And I spoke a little bit before about people managers role modeling,
Yes,
what
exactly.
it means to take time away from work and to be working during business hours. That's really important. I think it's also one of the company's values is talking about caring about the well-being of employees and actually operationalizing that through having well-being programs. We work with a lot of our corporate clients who have mental health practitioners that employees can access at any time. They have access to health memberships, whether it's like an account that they can spend on working out, throughout the month. Of course, paid time off is really essential. There's a lot of flex schedules happening where some companies are really testing what does it mean to work now. Again, we're looking at this whole Monday to Friday 9 to 5 thing being broken down and bringing more humanity into the structure of the workflow so that people can have more of their whole life. I don't have an answer for what that looks like. I think we're in an interesting stage of humanity where many, many organizations are experimenting with this. I think 5-10 years from now, it will be very different from how it's been. And I'm going to believe that it's going to be a leaning towards a more humane way to work. And again, a more humane way to work is going to contribute to far better business results. And like you said, retention and engagement.
Yes, let's hope for the best. I believe we will see a lot of changes in the corporate world.
It's happening. It's happening, Dipchi, and we're a part of it. And I think just it's so important that we think about what does it mean to humanize the workplace. It's going to look a little bit different for each organization, each leader, each individual contributor, but we can all create a better place to work, a healthier place to work, a more humane place to work.
And I think awareness is very important. The more people realize and acknowledge, especially the managers and the leaders, the more they can bring changes to the workplace.
You got it. You got it. And this goes back to awareness is a muscle that we can help build in people and train in people. And I really, really encourage organizations, if they're not already, to be investing in awareness development programs like coach training, leadership development. There's many ways to increase awareness, but the more aware we are of ourselves, our own, maybe where we get in our own way, as well as our core values, then we can help others do the same.
Absolutely. Yes. So with this, we come to the end of today's session, Christie. It was great talking to you about the topic.
Thank you.
So last but not the least, would you like to give some more suggestions to our listeners?
Sure. I think what I'll leave your listeners with, and thank you so much, Dipshi, for having me to speak to your listeners, is to really look at the ways that you're listening to people. Are you listening to solve a problem, or are you listening to the whole person? Look at the ways where you are honoring your values, or maybe there's a conflict where you're stepping on them, and bring this concept of values forward to the people that you work with and help others clarify what's most important to them. And then I think around people want to be seen. And they want to be seen not just for the work that they do, but who they are as a person. So we can all grow our ability to genuinely see somebody and acknowledge the qualities we see in them. So taking the time to do that can really go a long way to bringing more humanity into the workplace. And if it's all right, Dipshi, I'll invite people to follow us at uplevelproductions.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, Uplevel Productions Company, or on Instagram, on Facebook. And my name is Christie Mann. You can just Google me and find the different ways how I'm doing this work. But the children's books I mentioned when we started, these were really created after my work for 20 years with adults, seeing how difficult it was for adults to feel and to express their emotions. So the books, although they're for children, are actually for adults to gain more awareness to their relationship to their emotions. And my hope is that we can all have a healthier, more responsible relationship with our emotions, which won't just help our workplaces, but it will help our whole lives. It will help our well-being, our health, our prosperity. And I want that so, so, so badly for all of us, for humanity.
That's amazing, Christie. Thank you for your valuable suggestions. It was great talking to you. The entire session was very insightful. I believe you also had a great time.
I sure did. Yes. Thank you so much for your brilliant questions. I really appreciate being able to talk about something I'm so passionate about. So thank you for your deep listening and your great questions.
Thank you so much. It's been great. See you soon, probably on a different topic this time.
I hope so. Thank you. And thank you to all your listeners. Be well.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dipchi.
Thanks for listening to Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. Please do subscribe to Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for new episodes.